welcome in everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is your Pick'em show here on Football Talk, and we have a great guest today. We originally met because of the late, great Dan Harris, and you've seen him here on Football Talk before, and of course, he has his own show that you can find on the Always Press Record channel of Fire TV and Roku. Good friend of the show, and of course, the host of the show that carries his namesake, the one and only Matthew Paris. How's it going, brother?
Good, Bo. How are you? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So, I mean, it's been quite a while since you've been on a show. So, I mean, definitely let us know what like how things are going. I mean, you're in season 2 of your show. Let us know how those things are, like how that's coming together.
They're going good. Yeah, season 2. We're about to. We've done a bunch of episodes. You can find my show on Spotify, Amazon Music. Yeah, we're in season 2. We're about to go into season 3. So season 3 is coming up. We're working on a poster for it. Yeah, it's been fun. A lot of my past episodes have been dealing a lot with college football lately.
Okay.
Especially the Texas Longhorns and Texas Tech. Of course, I'm from Texas Tech, so I have to talk about my alma mater. And I honestly thought, Bo, we were going to have a bad season. And because we tied with Abilene Christian in the very first game, we went into overtime with them, and we won by 1 point. And then we lost the second game to somebody. I don't know it off the top of my head, but excuse me. Yeah, but now we're 5-1. We're first place in the Big 12. So we beat Arizona State, stuff like that. So I've been talking a little bit about that. I've been talking a little bit about Texas Longhorns. Quinn Ewers was out for a second. Talked about Arch Manning stepping in for a second. And we're doing good. We some of our biggest viewerships and listeners have been overseas, actually. A lot in the United Kingdom, a lot in the we have one guy in Singapore who really likes the show, so that's good.
That's awesome.
So, but of course, the United States is still the top nation, the top country that listens to it. So, and the top city right now is Los Angeles, and with the most downloads, and then I think it's Washington next.
Okay.
And then Germany's likes the show quite a bit. So,
I mean, that makes sense. Football is actually pretty big in Germany. So
yeah. So, we're working at. So, but it's good to be on here. I was like, I got to get with my buddy and talk football with Bo. That's why I need to do.
I mean, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
That is for sure. Well, I mean, if as you probably know, this is our Pick'em show, and I'm the reigning champ, right? I won 2 in a row, and this year looks like a three-peat is not in the cards.
Yeah. But you never know.
No. I mean, there's plenty of year left, no doubt, and I'm not far behind, but it's one of those that the upsets have been crazy, and you've seen plenty of it in college, but here in the NFL has been an insane amount of just weird endings to games, a lot of last-second field goals or overtime. Been a lot of drama for the first 5 weeks. And something that's a little abnormal, really, in both levels of football.
Yeah, I, of course, I'm from Houston, so I got to talk about my Texans, Bo.
Of course.
So I went to the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and at the time, the Jaguars are 1-4 now, but at the time they were 0-3, I think, or 0-4, and that was a close game. That was a really close game. I mean, CJ had to really pull it together and come back. I believe Tank Dell was out in that game. Joe Mixon is still out.
Yep.
So our running game, we had a good running game in the preseason. Now it's kind of gone by the wayside because Mixon is out. So our starting running back. So Cam Akers is doing just fine as far as, I don't know, maybe getting 5 yards here. Maybe if he breaks for a long run, 10 yards there, 15 yards there. But we need Mixon back. Fairbairn, though, our field goal kicker, he's been hitting them from long distance, 61 yards, 59 yards for the game winner last week. It's I know the odds makers had us at the Texans, us meaning the Texans, as a possible 10-1 Super Bowl contenders, but we still have a lot of work to do. From what I've seen from the games, we still have a lot of work to do. Our offensive line needs work. If I was DeMeco Ryans, I would focus on that for the next draft. so to protect CJ. And we just got a lot of people hurt. I mean, Nico Collins, our biggest receiver, he was leading the league in yards. Now he's out with a pulled hamstring. Tank Dell was out at one game for a bruised rib. So you're like, come on, guys,
Yep. No, absolutely. So, let's go over the ones I got wrong real quick from last week. I thought Tampa was going to take care of business against Atlanta. Atlanta pulls it out at the end.
Sure.
And so catch an L there. I had Buffalo over Houston. And, man, Buffalo just didn't show up to that game at all.
Yeah.
I mean, not to take anything away from Houston, but, man, Buffalo, really just got in their own way a lot.
Sure.
I had Indy taking down Jacksonville. That was a game that I felt was a coin flip. And Jacksonville finally showed up, right?
Yeah, yeah. I don't blame you, Bo. I would have had Indianapolis over Jacksonville. Yeah,
I mean, they just looked like a better team overall, and Jacksonville doesn't play defense. Kind of like the Bengals, right? Like neither one of those guys have a defense to speak of. I had San Fran beating Arizona. I did not see that double-digit comeback by Arizona to sneak out the win at the end.
Sure.
And then the last one is I certainly did not have the Giants beating the Seahawks with a team that has looked inept through 4 weeks. And this happened to be the week that they decided to be a complete football team. And so those were the 5 ones I got wrong. So ended up going 9-5 this last week and climbed back up from 8th into the 5th spot here in the championship. And I'm only 3 games behind. So definitely within striking distance. But when you're doing something like this, it's always better to lead from the front, right?
Mm-hmm.
You never want to have to rely on somebody to miss something for you to get into that spot. Just get a lead and then keep building on it. Like that's the best way to win a championship.
Sure. Yeah.
So to get into what tonight's game, we got the Niners, the Seahawks. I'm a Hawks fan, so I really want the Hawks to win. This is not a game that I think they do. The Hawks do lead the division. They're 3-2 versus the Niners 2-3. Niners are a 3.5-point favorite here on the road, over under 49.5. Injuries are going to be the biggest story of this game.
Sure.
So the Niners are, both teams are injured. Between the two teams, I think there's roughly 35 injuries going into this game.
Sure. Yeah. Brock Purdy has really no weapons out there. Same thing with Geno Smith,
Well, so Geno's weapons are there, but the defense isn't. So they're missing multiple players on the D-line, multiple linebackers. Byron Murphy and Tariq Woolen were both ruled out last night. So now you're missing one of your starting corners. Julian Love should be there, but who knows if he still has lingering effects. And then on the other side, you have for the Niners, Fred Warner may not be there. This is a game that the Niners, I believe, they get the win. It's going to be a tight game. But the running game is going to be huge for them. And Kittle is probably going to have a breakout game because of where the injuries are on the Seahawks. They can't stop anything up the middle. And seam routes and out routes to tight ends will burn them all day.
Sure. Yeah. I think you're right. Defense needs to step up for, definitely for the Seahawks, for both teams, actually, the Niners too. Yep. I think Geno – if you ask me to pick this game, I have the Niners maybe winning. I think it would be close, but I have the Niners edging it out. I do. Unless Geno can really get going, maybe use his legs a little bit, scrambling, stuff like that. Of course, I have to go back to Texas here because Texas fan. CJ, there are times where I was watching that game against Jacksonville Jaguars at NRG, and I'm like, CJ, run with the ball. You know what I mean? You have all that grass. Run with the ball.
Yep.
So if Geno can do that, they'll gain some yardage and they'll get down to the field. Same thing with Brock Purdy. They teach you to slide for a reason. So, but if you're facing a 3rd and 15 and you're scrambling, you're looking downfield and you see you have all that grass, go ahead and run with it.
That's right. Go get it.
Yeah. So I've noticed that today in this season, especially with a lot of quarterbacks that do that.
Yeah.
So they'll still try to look downfield and stuff like that. So who knows?
No, which is fine, right? Like before you cross the line of scrimmage, absolutely keep your eyes downfield. Maybe you can get something.
Sure.
But if it's not there and you have open field, yeah, run for it. But the one thing that we've seen so far is after Tua's injury, right?
Yeah.
Where he didn't slide and ultimately gets hurt, had already picked up the first down, right? So there's no reason to try and power for one more yard, right? Like he could have easily slid, he still would have had the first down. Well, now over the last couple of weeks, we've seen guys slide just before the marker, miss the first down when had they actually just lunged forward, they could have got it. And, so there's some of those business decisions that I'm not a huge fan of. Like you want to see them go get that first down. Now, once you have it, absolutely slide, right?
Yeah.
But if it's going to be a drive killer to not get it, I mean, you need to go get it, right? Because you only get so many drives in a football game.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's a no, I mean you make up a good point, Bo. It's a thing where I saw Patrick Mahomes do it once where he slid too soon.
Yep.
And they marked him down like 1 yard before, and he thought he got it. So yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But I mean, if you lead in with that head, though, those guys, those safeties, and those backers are gonna, they're gonna try to take you out. So
no, and that's why you wouldn't do it on like first down. If you're scrambling and you're going to be just short, you slide. Third down. You need to get that yard because you're only gonna get the ball so many times.
Right. How do you feel about? There's a lot more teams I've started to know this season that are going on 4th and 1, even if they're like at the 50 or something. How do you feel about that?
So it's funny because they're listening to the analytics, and the analytics say you probably get it, and maybe you do, right? Similar to when they'll do it, inside the 40, they'll go for it rather than take the points. I'm a big fan of take the points because a lot of times a field goal will be the difference. And if you forego a field goal and you don't get it, not only did they end up with decent field position, but you didn't get any points, right?
Sure.
So going for it, well, I mean, we watched the Seahawks do it this last week on their own 35 and miss it, right, on 4th. And the thing with that is it's an aggressive move. I don't hate it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's one of those scenarios where if you get it, you look like a genius. And if you don't, everybody's going to burn you at the stake for it. Sure. So like there's no right answer there.
Sure.
So, I mean, do I like it on your own side of the field? No, I do not love that. If you're midfield, it's kind of no man's land, right? You're just too far from a field goal. It's really not a great punting spot, because you're going to punt and you're going to net 20 yards at best, right?
Sure.
And so going for it there, I don't hate. When you're on the positive side, that's just an aggressive thing. Like if you think you have the guys to push the line, cool. If you're realistic and you've seen what you've been able to do all day and you haven't been able to push the line, take the points.
Sure. Yeah. I have a theory where if I was coaching a team, one of these teams, I mean, I was a former coach at one point, but I would have been like, we don't go on 4th down unless we're on the other team's side. You know what I mean? Now, if let's say, it's coming down to the wire, I'm 3 points down, I'll probably take a field goal, try to tie it up. Or what the Texans did, again, I have to go back to Houston. What the Texans did against the Jacksonville Jaguars, there was a point there, I think it was right before halftime, where D'Amico's went for it, I think on 4th down on our red zone. We were in their red zone. And I was like, I would have taken the points there. So
you forced them to 14
instead of like 14-3, it would have been 17-3 at halftime,
Yeah.
And I trust Fairbairn because he's kicked, he's made 61 yarders, 59 yarders, the game winner last week. So, but yeah, I just wanted to hear your take on that.
Yeah. I mean, I am always a fan of getting the points, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And, it's situational. Like I get listening to the analytics in a broad scope, right? When you're looking at the season, you're like, okay, this is what works, whatever. But
Sure.
football is a little different in the moment of the game, right? So I would look more at what is happening that day as opposed to what the analytics say over the course of the season, right? Because if our offensive line is has a solid win rate in the run game, I'm more apt to go for it on fourth down.
Sure.
If our guys are getting stalemated, give me the points.
Yeah.
Every time, because I don't want to trust the fact that this is the one play they win. Right. And I feel like too many times you're watching these coaches and they're like, well, the analytics say we go for it on fourth down. It's like, well, you're losing in the trenches all day. Like, I get over the course of a season, maybe it makes sense statistically, but today is not your day.
Sure.
So, and vice versa. Like, maybe you've just historically not been good on fourth down, but you're winning on the offensive line the whole time. Yeah, you go for that. You're just like, we've been blowing them off the ball all day. Let's go.
Sure. If it's a 4th and 1, why not quarterback sneak it, or why not just give it to the right back and jam it up the middle?
I'm with you there. As long as you got the guys that can do it, right? Like, you need that interior offensive line to be dudes.
Yeah.
So, and let's be honest, not every team has that guy.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah. The Texans definitely don't have a offensive line right now. So.
Yeah, I mean, there is some bad offensive lines. In fact, when we were talking before we jumped on air, one of the biggest things about your starters not playing in preseason is timing routes with receivers and offensive line play, because those guys need to move as a unit, and lack of reps hurts both of those a lot. Sure. If you're on defense, less so, because you're allowed to move around and you can kind of adapt to the game. Sure. But offensive line, because they have to move as a unit, and of course the timing between a quarterback and receiver, those guys need more preseason reps, because that's why we see all of this really kind of ugly gameplay in the first few weeks.
Yeah. What do you think about the Chiefs game?
So
I want to hear your opinion about that.
the Chiefs are interesting, and I think the direction I'll go with your question here is, I'm having a hard time not buying into some of the conspiracy theory that the refs want them to win.
Okay. Yeah.
And why I say that is, against the Bengals, they have a pass interference, right? And it doesn't get called because they committed it. There's 2 other ones that were the exact same play against them. Flag immediately comes out. Sure. And as much as I don't believe anything's rigged or the refs are in anyone's pocket, you also can't have situations like that where it really feeds into the conspiracy theory, because you watch the exact same scenario happen 3 weeks in a row with them. The first one was against them. It's a flag. They commit it. It's not. The next week it's against them. It's another flag. You're just like, man, I mean, I don't think it goes this way, but you're sure making it kind of look like it could.
Yeah. I mean, look. I mean, I'm with you, Bo. I don't believe there's a hidden agenda here where Andy Reid's talking to these guys, or they're friends with Patrick Mahomes. That was brought up at one point, like, oh, all these guys are friends with Patrick Mahomes. I think I think they have a job to do, and they're getting paid well to do that job. And you can't see everything. You'll miss a couple things here and there, holding calls and stuff like that. But it's a thing where, I mean, it's pretty unbelievable too. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of like all those rumors going around when Tom Brady was with New England. Well, they need New England to win, So yeah.
There's a fair amount of hate for KC, and the reason for that is you go right from the dynasty of the Patriots.
Sure.
Directly into KC being dominant, right? So there's it's a dynasty fatigue is the way I feel it is. Because on the NFC side, there's a mix, right? Like there's been consistent teams, but there's been other teams thrown in. Whereas on the AFC side, you basically went right from the Patriots into KC, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
So I think more people are just irritated with the fact that that's a thing than actual hate for KC. I think it's just they're tired of seeing the same two teams.
Sure. Yeah. I mean that definitely could be it. I know people who are like when Brady, if Brady won all his Super Bowls, he would have like 9 rings right now.
10.
You know?
He'd have 10. It's crazy.
So yeah, something like that. So I know there were a couple times there when I was living in Austin where it was like, oh, I don't want to see Brady win again. You know, it's just one of these things. And I think you're right. I think it's segue into the Kansas City Chiefs now because Kansas City, if they win this next Super Bowl, it will start a dynasty for them. It will be Mahomes' 4th Super Bowl ring? He's got 3 now.
Yeah, it would be his 4th in 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't want him to do it. I like the fact that there's never been a three-peat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It shows that there is some parity in this league.
Sure.
So I'm hoping they don't get it. But man, even though they haven't played their best ball, they look pretty unstoppable.
They do. It's they have gone down. I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day about this. I'm like, the Chiefs have gone down a little bit as far as certain things. They weren't as dominant as last year.
No.
However, I mean, they could be beaten. They can be beaten, I should say. However, it's one of those things where it's just worked out for them. I think them and the Minnesota Vikings are the only 2 teams that are undefeated in the league. So Minnesota has a strong defense, though.
Vikings are a better team.
I think so too. Actually,
they look like they could potentially be the most complete team in the league right now, which is crazy to think of the fact that coming into this, we all thought they had a real shot at being the last team in their division.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, let you know, all of us that analyze the game, looks like, we don't always know.
Exactly. Sure. Yeah. I mean, look what they did to Houston. I watched that game and I thought we were going to win that game.
Sure.
And it was just their defense was all over CJ, all over them. So, and they ended up winning big. So now I don't feel so bad.
And I picked the Texans in that. I was like, this is gonna be Minnesota's first loss. Like, here we go. And then it was just like, well, I definitely got that one wrong. So that was one of the picks on the week that I didn't get right.
Yeah. So it's just I had Houston winning. I thought, okay, they're gonna win this game, but Minnesota looks strong,
right? Like that's your homer pick anyway. You got to pick them.
Well, you do, but I mean, now I'm having. Okay, so of course I have to pick them. You're right, Bo. But it's a thing where when Houston gets to the playoffs, if they get to the playoffs, I mean, they could just totally crap in the second half of the season. But I believe they're going to the playoffs. If they go to the playoffs, there are 2 teams that we have to deal with: Minnesota Vikings and the Kansas City Chiefs. I think we could beat everybody else, and possibly Baltimore Ravens. I think we could beat everybody else. So,
I mean, on your best day, you can hang with anybody.
Sure,
but there's definitely half a dozen teams that can beat you, no question.
Sure. On any given Sunday, like Oliver Stone's movie, right?
Hey, he's not wrong. I mean, look at the upsets.
I know, right?
So, I mean, like at the college ranks, nobody was picking Vandy to take down Alabama. It just wasn't going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah. Going off that, Bo, real quick. Did you see Nick Saban on College Game Day? He said the day of the Vanderbilt-Alabama game, he said that everybody in the SEC, you face them every week, he goes, it's a battle. It's just a battle. He goes, except with Vandy. And look what happened.
I mean, it made you think that they were potentially overlooking Vanderbilt a little bit.
Yeah.
But Vanderbilt had a unique offense that they just didn't have an answer for on defense.
Yeah.
So that on a show where we have more time, that is a game that would be fun to kind of go through because there was some pretty smart moves by Vanderbilt during that game. And then once they got out to a lead, like they just they just kept pounding away at them.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it was 40-35 was the final score. You're just kind of like, wow. So, what was that? The first time since what, 1988 or something?
Uh,
89?
yeah, something like that. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But especially after Nick Saban said that, you're just kind of like, all right, Nick, you're going to have to sort of eat your
Got to
own
eat
words
that one.
there. Yeah.
Absolutely. All
Yeah.
right. So we got to get into these picks. That way we don't run out of time on them. If you are into sports betting, though, you can bet right alongside us here on Football Talk. Use a QR code on the screen, get up to 125% of your first 3 deposits. And of course, there is a 10% bet guarantee if you just happen to be bad at it. Those obviously have some conditions that apply. And of course, also brought to you in part by, there we go. True Fusion Gym right here in the Pacific Northwest, whether you're in Bellevue, Ballard, or University Village, use the QR code on the screen for a free 5-day pass. Yoga, boot camp, Pilates, bar. They have hot rooms. Find your edge at True Fusion Gym. All right. So here we go. Kicking off Sunday morning, at least morning here on the West Coast. We got the Jags at the Bears. That is the 1-4 Jags that have looked inept in every possible way. The Bears are only a 2-point favorite at home, though, which is a little bit surprising. Over under a 44.5. I think the Bears defense is probably going to be the difference in this game. I do like the Bears at home.
Me too. I like the Bears. I like the Bears at home. I'd be surprised if Jacksonville wins. Trevor Lawrence needs to pretty much step it up a little bit. How do you feel about Lawrence this season?
Well, I mean, he's had moments that he's looked okay. Sure. They have no defense, right? So
none.
There are 3 teams that are absolutely built to just have to outrun people when it comes to scoring. The Jags are one of them. Obviously, it's the Bengals play very uninspired defense. The Dolphins. The Dolphins have no defense to speak of. So even if you start winning games, it doesn't matter because once you get to the playoffs, you have to be able to stop people.
Sure.
Obviously, there's an outlier. KC did it one time with no defense. But if you look over the history of the league, you need a defense. Like, you still need offensive production, but you need a defense that can get a stop. And the Jags, they just don't have that. Fortunately for them, the Bears have a fairly inept offense. So the game will probably be kind of close, but the defense will likely be the difference in this game. So I'll take the Bears here.
Yeah, I take the Bears. It's going to be a defensive game. I think it will be closer than what people feel like. I say the Bears by a touchdown.
Oh, okay. See, I had them like at a field goal just because they don't really score very well.
Yeah.
And
unless Trevor Lawrence throws a pick 6.
Yes, and the odds are high. So so it is entirely possible. Then we move into what I think is going to be the game of the week. We have Washington at the Ravens. The Ravens are a 6.5-point favorite, and that seems high. Washington is playing way ahead of schedule, but the Ravens have finally figured out that they have Derrick Henry on their roster. So it's going to be the number 1 rushing attack. Washington has the number 2 rushing attack. The Ravens have the number 1 rush defense. This is going to be such an electric game to watch. I have the Ravens to win outright. I have Washington to cover. I don't think 6.5 is a realistic number here. I think this is going to be like a field goal kind of game.
Is that a prime time game? Is that Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football?
No, that's Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
Or the 1 o'clock game if you're on the East Coast, I guess.
Okay. Something like that should probably be a prime time game.
No question.
Yeah.
It's just too early in the year for any of the flex scheduling.
Sure. Yeah.
So otherwise, it probably would have been flexed into a primetime slot.
Sure. Okay. So you have Baltimore winning, right?
I do have Baltimore here.
Okay. So I think it's going to be a close game. I think if the Commanders can shut down Lamar Jackson as far as running goes, they're going to have a really, really good shot at running up the score. Jaden Daniels is playing so well right now he's up for MVP talk.
Yes.
So
Yeah. No,
it's
I'm with you, except the Ravens have the number one run stop defense.
Sure. Yeah. I think it'll be a battle. I'm gonna go with a surprise here. I say Washington wins it.
Okay.
By 3.
And that would be awesome. I mean, talk about a feel good story for Washington, and it would definitely set the precedent for the league of we're for real.
Sure.
Not to say that 4-1 doesn't say that, but it doesn't quite. But you take down the Ravens, that has a different feel to it now.
Sure. Yeah. No, you take down the Ravens, that's a good team.
No
However, if I think if Washington could shut down Lamar's running ability, they're going to have a good chance. They're going to have a really good chance.
No doubt. No, and that's why I was saying it was going to be a field goal. Like the 6.5 just doesn't seem like a real number.
Right. Yeah. So, but I'll pick Washington on this one.
Okay. No, I like it. I like it. Then we have the Cards going to Green Bay. The Packers are a 5.5 point. That's a line that usually favors an underdog. 5.5 is a weird stat. Over under 47. 88% of people are going with the Packers here. The Cards are so wildly inconsistent.
Yeah.
They have talent. They're a scrappy team. They can surprise anybody. I think the Packers get this at home, though.
I agree with you. I think the Packers get in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
It's not gonna be cold though.
It's not gonna be cold. No, it's gonna be. I mean, I gotta say that because that's the old saying, right?
Yeah. Like if this was in 2 months, yes.
Yeah.
Cold.
Yeah. I have the Packers winning at Lambeau. Yeah, I mean it's going to be. I have them winning by a touchdown, maybe 2.
Okay, you haven't blown them out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean I'm not mad at it. And then we have your game. We got the Texans headed into New England, and you guys are 7-point favorites on the road. The one thing you guys aren't particularly good at is stopping the run.
Yeah.
And the Patriots do have a good run game. If they can establish their run game, they actually have a better defense than their stats would say, only because their offense is so bad. But if you can establish a solid running game, lean on their defense a little bit, this could be a closer game than that stat line would portray. Now, I have Houston winning here, obviously.
Okay.
But there is a scenario here that Green Bay or that the Patriots cover.
Sure. Yeah. I have Houston winning too, and not because it's my team and I'm a Texas fan. Yeah. There is a possibility that the Patriots could win, though. There's this very strong possibility that the Patriots could win. They're in New England. They're over there. That offensive line, you and I talked about it earlier. That offensive line of Houston, just I don't know. Maybe they could step it up, but they need to protect CJ. If CJ's back there scrambling and stuff like that, he's going to make mental mistakes. I have seen that a little bit this year, where I really did see that a whole lot last year in his rookie year. But I do have the Texans winning by a touchdown.
Oh, okay. So,
but it might be really close. It might be really close. It might be 3. It might be 3. Fairbairn, get in there and kick another winner.
So I do like the 7-point stat line only because Drake May gets his first start.
Yeah.
Right. And you guys have a decent pass rush. Like it's not elite, but it's decent. And that Patso line isn't good.
Yeah.
Like it's not like they're kind of bad. Like it's a bad unit.
Yeah.
And so you have a rookie quarterback in his first start behind a bad line against a defensive line that does get home. That's why I said if they're going to do anything, that running game has to work. Because otherwise, Drake May is going to get beat up.
Sure. We're going to blitz them. I'm sure DeBico is going to blitz them. Yeah, just blitz them.
Yeah. Make them uncomfortable.
Sure. Yeah. Welcome to the NFL.
Exactly.
So, you're not at where'd you go? North Carolina?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not in North Carolina anymore. So
Yeah,
you're in the
no, that's
NFL.
for
So.
sure. No, if they can get the running game, that's the only way that I see them covering that 7-point spread. If they can't get
Yeah.
the running game going, yeah, you guys probably blow them out.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, our defense is pretty good. Our pass rush is really good.
Yep,
So I would just blitz him. I would just blitz him until he got uncomfortable. You know.
absolutely. Still in the morning block, we have the Bucks at the Saints. The Bucks are only a 3.5-point favorite here,
Uh
which is
huh.
a little bit surprising. Over under a 41.5. That part makes sense because Carr is out. You have Spencer Rattler getting his first start there. This sure seems like the Bucks take care of business pretty easy.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I totally forgot Carr's out. Again, I think it'd be a close game. I maybe the Bucks. Yeah, Bucks pull it out. I think the Bucks pull it out by a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. The Saints defense is good, but they're going to be out there
Yeah,
all
they
day.
are.
And I don't care how good your defense is. By the fourth quarter, if you've been out there all day, you're gassed. Like
Sure.
that'll be where Tampa Bay will start to pull away. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I have the Bucks on the road. This game would have been a lot more fun if Carr was still healthy.
Yeah. 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 If Carr was still healthy, I might have the Saints beating them. Actually.
I would have taken the Saints.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Saints
Yeah.
at home, absolutely.
But who knows? Maybe Spencer Rattler will come in and be like, "Hey, here's my shot at trying to do something to get first string. Let me go in there and let me just dominate." You know?
I mean, and based on this year, that's highly likely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you
It's
never
been
know.
such a weird year.
I mean, I tell every backup quarterback that I'm like, if the first string goes out, here's your chance to shine.
Yep.
Like you could possibly step in and be like, "Hey, I should be first string." You know?
Yep. And even
So
if it's not for where you are, it's an audition tape for somewhere else.
sure, yeah, definitely. It's a. By the way, I have to throw this out there, Bo. Send you prayers to everybody in Florida and Tampa Bay area.
Yes,
You guys be safe. So
absolutely. Yeah, no, did you see some of the video of Tropicana Field?
I did.
Yeah, wild.
It is.
It's
I'm
like
like,
they took a can opener to the top.
I know. I'm like, okay, well, you guys are away this week, but it's just you guys be safe. The families, everything, the players' wives, the kids, everything. Be safe.
Yep. Well, in a non-football related topic, the because that field is tore up, depending on the structural damage of that place, did they end up having them play somewhere else, or do they finally give Montreal a team?
It's
Like
a good
that would be
question.
an easy way for them to move them, and it's already in the right conference.
Yeah, that's a good question. There have been talks of overseas football. Should London get a team? Should Canada get a football team? Um, that's a good question. I would say though they would move to another stadium around there, around somewhere where it's not
I would assume, but
Yeah, I would assume that. Like, but okay, we're playing at a college stadium this week, or something like that. I mean, you remember Super Bowl VIII? Super Bowl VIII was Minnesota Vikings versus Miami Dolphins.
yeah,
That was played at Rice Stadium.
yeah,
You know,
true.
so
I mean, that was a while ago, though.
yeah, no, it was, but it was like at Rice Stadium. It's a college football stadium.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, isn't that crazy?
No, it is. It is. All right. So then we have the Browns at the Eagles. Eagles off a bye. The Browns complete dysfunction.
Yeah.
Eagles are a 9-point favorite at home, over under a 40. 97% of America is going with the Eagles here. And that is not a huge shock, right?
No.
You have Deshaun Watson just giving up in the middle of a play. I don't know. I don't know of a game coming up that I feel like I would be selecting the Browns based on the dysfunction we've watched on the field. I believe that Chubb is available to come back, but if you're him, do you even want to? Or would you just be like, oh, my leg still kind of hurts, like maybe not this week? I got the Eagles winning here pretty easily.
Yep, me too. I got the Eagles winning by 2 touchdowns, maybe a little bit more. You're right. Cleveland Browns is dysfunctional right now. They have a lot of problems with their quarterback, Deshaun Watson. Um, are there still? I heard there's still some more stuff coming out about them as far as the sexual harassment charges.
So a couple of weeks ago, somebody
Yeah.
came forward. They had video, and they were going to present it to the league last Thursday.
Okay.
This quietly got settled and sealed on Tuesday this week.
Okay.
So the sealed part is the biggest part of that, because had it become public, the Browns would have had grounds to terminate the contract based on conduct unbecoming, detrimental to the team.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
But because it's sealed, there's allegations and a settlement, but no context. So all of a sudden you don't have that ability to terminate a contract because, well, there's no detrimental information that came out.
Sure.
There was just an accusation. Well, you can't fire anybody for that. So so they dodged a bullet as far as Deshaun's team. The Browns probably were hoping.
Yeah.
Because it would have given them the ability to basically retain 175 more, million more that they haven't paid him yet.
Yeah.
So, but as it sits right now, those allegations were settled and sealed, so they'll be a non-factor. Now, do I think that's the end of them? Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's still stuff going on. Sure. I mean, there's still stuff going on in Houston, as far as, the massage therapist.
That's what these were from.
Yeah. So, and of course, he sat out the last season. He didn't play at all.
Yeah.
I mean, he pretty much went to the ownership and said, I'm not playing. So, and then we traded him. So we had Davis Mills come in that entire season.
Yep.
So it's a bad situation for him.
Yeah. No, the thing that's funny is the way that he's played last year and this year, the off the field distractions and all of that. When he's done with the Browns, he's probably done in the league.
Yeah.
I can't think of another team like, hey, let me take a flyer on a guy that's been nothing but a distraction. It'd be one thing if the production on the field was still there.
Yeah.
And then someone would be like, oh, okay, you know what? We'll take a flyer on him, see what happens.
Yeah.
But the way that he's played, everybody's going to look at that and be like, yeah, no, I'm good. Like there's so much off the field that your production doesn't outweigh the negative.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I was the owner of a team, I'm like, I'm not dealing with that guy.
No,
he brings so much bad publicity to us, and he's not performing right now and stuff like that. I would be like, I'm not dealing with that guy.
Well, and you know that Stefanski isn't the one calling the shots because he would have benched the guy as soon as he walked off the field.
Yeah.
Right. He would have just been like, okay, next man up, because you've seen Stefanski in other locations. That is not something he would have done.
Yeah.
He would not be like, oh, you're just ruining my game plan here. But hey, just come out next series. Like there's zero chance that that's how that would have went down. Certainly coming into this week's game, Deshaun's still the starter. Like we've seen that anyone else on that roster could produce what he is. I mean, he's putting up like 130 yards a game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Tim Boyle could do that.
I think so too. I think so too. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't know though.
I don't have a good answer for that. I feel bad for Stefanski because he's just getting buried. And I really feel like this is one of those coaching scenarios where it's probably not his fault.
Yeah. 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 And he's going up to the ownership and be like, I got to deal with this guy. Like, what do you want me to do here?
Well, and that's the thing is I think it's being dictated to him to have him out there. I think it's either the GM or the owner or both that are like, no, we're paying this guy $230 million guaranteed. He's playing.
Yeah.
And, for me, I would rather just have the guy that's actually going to win me games.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're wasting the rest of your roster.
Yeah.
Like you got a roster that can win. I mean, you have a defense that's a top 5, over the last few years. You have enough on offense that you should be able to win games. And instead, you have Deshaun, who has looked horrendous.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he might cast a shadow over the entire team too. You know what I mean?
Oh,
We
for
have no
sure.
idea what's going on in the locker room. Do they get along with the guy? Do they, it's this and that and the other. That could really mess up the mentality of the team, you know?
Oh, no question. No question.
So
Speaking of train wrecks, we have the Colts at the Titans. This is a 2-3 team versus a 1-3 team. The Titans are 2.5-point favorites at home, over under 43. The Colts carry 76% of the votes here as far as who they think is going to win today.
Sure.
And this is not a small sample size. This is actually from BetMGM.
Yeah.
So 76% of America is going with the Colts here. I actually like the Titans at home. Colts have a little too many injuries, including Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson, are both questionable going into the day, which means even if they get in, they're not going to be 100%.
Sure.
And the Titans overall actually have a pretty healthy roster. And although it's not a good team, sometimes just being the healthy team is enough.
Yeah, I totally forgot Anthony Richardson is questionable. Now, having you just said that, I was going to pick the Colts to win.
The Titans also have the best defense. They
do.
give up the least yards in the league.
They do. I was going to pick the Colts to win, but now that you just broke that down for me, I might have to go with the Titans by 3, by a field goal.
Yeah, I had the Titans covering also. 2.5 isn't it feels like an easy number to take.
Sure. Yeah. I was going to pick the Colts by maybe 3, maybe a field goal or a touchdown, but now I'm going to flip it. I'm going to say the Titans by a field goal.
Right on. All right, we got the afternoon games. We got the Chargers at the Broncos. If you look at these two teams, they are the same team. They have very similar rankings just about everywhere. The only thing the Chargers are notably better is in their rushing attack, except their running back is questionable.
Yeah.
So doesn't really help anything out. Chargers are an away favorite, 2.5 points there, over under a 35.5, which means people don't think anybody's going to score based on what we've seen so far.
That's a game of field goals, like the Super Bowl.
Exactly. I do like the Broncos at home here because Herbert and Jonathan, not Taylor, Dell are both questionable coming into the day.
Sure. I would say the Chargers. Chargers by 3. I'm going to say Chargers by 3.
This is one that I keep clicking back and forth. I'm like, I like the Chargers overall better, but the Broncos have a better defense.
Sure.
And so I don't know if you can really pick this one correctly.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be lucky if I get this one right.
Well, and that is a common theme. 56% are going with the Broncos here. So, I mean, basically, even everybody selecting through betting apps are like, coin flip, who knows?
Yeah. I say Chargers.
Yep.
So
this one should be easy. This is the Steelers at the Raiders. Steelers are a 3-point favorite on the road. 90% of America is going with the Steelers here. Raiders making a change at quarterback. O'Connell gets the start. Max Crosby is questionable coming into the day.
Sure.
So I got the Steelers here on the road.
Yeah, I got the Steelers all the way.
And the 3 wide receivers are all questionable for the Raiders. So even if O'Connell has a decent day, I don't know who he's thrown to.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on this one, Bo. I have the Steelers all the way on this one.
I like this. Can I start over? Just going to have to catch the replay afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. We got the Falcons at the Panthers. Falcons are a 6-point favorite. That actually doesn't feel like a big enough number. Falcons cruise here easily with the Panthers that are not only a dysfunctional team, but they got 20 people on their injury report.
Sure. Yeah. I have the Falcons. Falcons by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. No, that feels right.
Yeah,
This
could
is
be
going to be
interesting.
another good game. We have the Lions traveling down to Dallas, and the Lions are coming off a bye, 3-1 versus Cowboys 3-2. Lions are a 3-point favorite on the road. I do like the Lions here. That defense for Dallas is a mess.
Yeah, I like the Lions. A Lions by a touchdown.
Yep.
So
Nope, I'm with you there. And then Sunday Night Football, we got the Bengals at the Giants. Believe it or not, I want to select the Giants here. Only because the Bengals really don't play defense at all.
Yeah.
Like, just zero defense. The fact that they've won a game is because they outran somebody. It wasn't because they did anything special.
Yeah.
I'm picking the Bengals, but like reluctantly.
Yeah. I'm picking the Bengals. I think the Bengals. I think you're right. I think the Bengals edge it out though by 3, or maybe even a touchdown.
Well, that's the thing, is the line is 3.5. I think the Giants actually cover. The Bengals win, but I think the Giants cover.
Cover the spread.
Yeah, because this last week when you watched the Giants against the Seahawks, it was their best game of the season. They looked like a complete team.
Sure.
And if they play anything like they did this last week against the Bengals, they'll be able to score, which is something they haven't been able to do.
Mm-hmm.
But their defense should be able to get a stop here and there against that Bengals team.
Sure.
And so even though I want to select the Giants, I got to go with the Bengals. They just have a lot of firepower.
I do too. I would be surprised if the Giants pulled it out, but I say the Bengals by 3 or by a touchdown.
Okay. And then, of course, Monday Night Football, a lot of weird surrounding this game. And this is where we get to talk about Saleh a little bit. Is the Bills travel, play the Jets. Bills are a 2.5-point favorite on the road here, over under 41. There's a new head coach, interim head coach. Now, when you look through history, the first game for an interim head coach a lot of times works out for that team.
Sure.
Because philosophy is different, and the other team, although has tape on the team they're playing, they don't have the game plan. And so I still like the Bills here, and only because the problem wasn't Saleh.
Yeah.
Right? Saleh was a defensive-minded coach. The one thing that team does well is play defense.
Yeah.
So they elevate their defensive coordinator into the head coach position, which means nothing's really going to change in that aspect. They demoted Hackett earlier today, so he's no longer the play caller. It just seems like there's way too much noise surrounding this Jets team to be able to do it. But again, interim head coach means that first game really favors that new team. I mean, Jeff Saturday won coming in as an interim head coach. And, so I mean, those kind of Antonio Pierce most recently. I mean, so there's some things that kind of lean towards the Jets, but I'm taking the Bills in a get right game on Monday night.
I'm taking the Bills by a touchdown. I would be surprised though if Aaron Rodgers came out and just started, because of all the stuff that's going on, has to really play well. Maybe that's going to motivate him a little bit. Robert Saleh, he said he showed up to the stadium, to the practice, and they were like, hey, the owner needs to talk to you right away. So he went up there and they just cut him loose. Said, thanks for your time. Cut him loose. I don't know how Jeff is going to do. It's Jeff Ulbrich, right? Who's interim. So, who knows? Like you said, there's a couple of times where a lot of the interim head coaches in their first game win the first game.
So after that, it's not generally great, but the first game is good.
The first, yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets win, but I'm going to have to go with the Bills. Because of the talent and the what they have, and Jets haven't really, looked that great this year, which is funny because everybody thought they were going to be good this year. They were looked at as possibly a Super Bowl contender.
Their roster says they should be good. They are very much like the Browns. You look at the roster and you're like, this team wins in the league. Yeah. And then you watch them play together and you're like, have you guys ever played football? Like, I don't understand how you're this bad at it. And it's one of the things when you look at Rodgers, like that game they just lost overseas, I don't know how you fault Saleh on that. Like Rodgers just played terrible.
He did. He played
Now,
bad.
don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating for right. Like I thought he was actually going to get fired last year. So
yeah.
But the timing of this is just weird because you're only 5 games in. You're 1 game out of the division. Like you're right in the thick of it. I don't know why you would make these wholesale changes when you're not out of it. Like if you were out of it, sure, I get it. Like you 0-5, totally understand.
Yeah.
But 1 game out of the division, like why are you making huge changes that, let's be honest, when you have an interim head coach step in, I don't know if they've ever made the playoffs after that.
Yeah. Yeah. And not only that, it doesn't display much confidence in the organization as a whole.
Exactly.
You know, if you're 1 game out of the division, hey, I'm going to fire my head coach now and bring in this whole new guy. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well,
as the guy who's
early.
running stuff.
I mean, let's be honest. The guy I thought would lose his job first this year is Doug Peterson.
Yeah.
Like that's the guy I thought for sure would be the one that potentially finds his way out the door. And even with that, I wouldn't think it would happen until their bye week, which I think is like week 11. It's like 10 or 10, something like that. So, I mean, it was just such a weird time to
do this.
let him go.
Yeah.
Because you gave him another year because Rodgers gets hurt last year, and then you only give him 5 starts with him. I don't know. It just seemed odd.
Sure. You might as well play out the season and see where it goes. You know?
Yeah, because you got a lot of decisions to make.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. Rodgers at times, too. I mean, you remember, I think it was 2 seasons ago, he had that terrible, terrible game. And he's a good quarterback. Great quarterback. He's got a Super Bowl ring with Green Bay. But he had, every once in a while, he'll have a terrible, terrible game where you're just like, am I watching the same guy here? You know?
Yeah. Well, and he looks like he's a little bit different. Like he doesn't seem to drive, like step into the ball quite the same way.
Sure.
Right. And obviously that's the Achilles, but still, I mean, like the gameplay just isn't quite the same.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know. It's it'll be a good game. I do think the Bills get it. That brings us to the top of the hour, though. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Matthew Parrish Show. We're on Amazon. We're on Spotify. Of course, we're on Always Press Record TV for the video version. You just got to download the app. It's on Amazon Fire TV, Roku channel. And just make sure you like and subscribe to the Matthew Parrish Show. Same thing with Football Talk with Bo. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, if you're watching here on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. If you're watching on Roku TV, stay tuned for the next hour. Other than that, we will see you all next week. Enjoy football tonight, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Had a lot of fun.